are back here on Girl Talk. Again, a Wingman A and Wingman B. And Kelly and Heather are still with us. We're going to talk about the myth of, I love this, I want to say the myth of aging men as they relate to younger women.
But we are talking about, for the most part, men over 50 and how a lot of, well, even including us, women believe that men only want younger women.
Why would we think that?
Because the men think that. You see it, and it's a myth amongst the men just as much as it is amongst women.
Meaning they think that that's what they should be?
Well, men are very visual. So if you're coming out of, it's different for widowed men than divorced men.
I'm just thinking that men are very visual. I'm sitting here, boo, you know. But you know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? I'm thinking, gee, I can't imagine. Do I want a 25-year-old, all perky and happy?
They think they do. They think they do. They think it'll look, you know, the first woman that pays attention to them after a long-term, you know, roommate kind of situation. If they've been in a marriage for 20, 30, 40 years that has been lacking in intimacy, lacking in touch, lacking in attention, and suddenly some pretty
young thing.
Says, you know, you're so big and strong, and they're puffed up, and you know, and yeah, they think they want that, and then 2 years later, she's off, you know, doing something that interests her, which you know, it's always important never to date somebody younger than your oldest child.
Are
probably
sort of
good
rules?
guy.
Yeah, good guy. But really, when you sit down with a gentleman, with a relationship counselor, and they're telling you they want a much younger woman, they don't. What they want is to be the center of her attention. What they want is to be touched. What they want is to be craved and loved. And they also want to have common understanding of the world. When you know, they're talking about the Beatles, and she's like, wasn't that guy in Weeds?
I feel the same way.
Poor Kelly's over there going, we're like, cute over here.
So do you help coordinate matches, or how does that work?
We're a professional matchmaking firm. We work with individuals who are looking for that one special relationship.
I've seen the TV shows, and you know, so in my mind, I feel like that's how it would be, and so I didn't know locally that
we had Anna Ruby on, and we just, I mean, it was, it was cool. But you do. Tell Kelly how different it is. What you all do.
We're not a traditional dating service. You know, you can go get dates. You know, our members don't have trouble meeting people. They're looking for that one person, and
their criteria points. And
we're doing a really in-depth personal profile from psychological testing and in really deep understanding. We'll learn more about you than you know about yourself. And so when we match you with somebody, not only who's physically attractive and somebody that you have amazing chemistry with, which is fabulous, but we can all find that, right? No matter how old we are. But what you really find 15 years down the road is you're more in love than you were when you first met, and the chemistry.
My question to you is, how do you pitch we older women to these gentlemen who are unclear that we are who they want?
Well, it's not difficult, because during the interview process or during the counseling session with the gentleman, he discovers that in most cases that he doesn't want a 25 or 30-year-old girl.
He wants somebody that he can share more with.
Well, I think
she does.
Sure, and I think age sometimes is irrelevant. I mean, I've met some 25, 30-year-old girls who are wise beyond their years and would probably...
And I've met really immature men.
But I've also met, I mean, at 58 or however old we are, I don't feel like I'm a fossil. I mean, I feel like we're pretty...
I think you have a lot of energy.
But do you know what I'm using even myself as just a demographic. I think we're not our grandparents.
Right. And you were talking about, you know, and I think you mentioned earlier as well that your husband was 30-something when you met. Your parents were like, why has he never been married? Well, now... people are getting married for the first time, both men and women, in their 30s. That it's not like it was.
Do you think that's a career? People are putting career first?
Yes.
I think they are.
Very much so. And, you know, I had a beautiful woman. She's 71 years old. Doesn't look a day over what I would think. You know, doesn't look like. And active, and they're all telling us the same thing. I don't want to date somebody who wants to sit around and die. They want to live. They want to enjoy life. They just spent so many years not.
Can you give me an example, or give us all an example of some of the questions that you would ask? Like, what would you ask Deb and I, or what would you ask Kelly?
With regard to...
With
Just like
regard,
the-
with regard to what? With regard to like some of the personality tests that you would give us. Like if I came into you, what would be some of the? Would you ask our interests? Would you ask our? Okay.
I mean, all of that comes out because it's really, we sit down, it's like two old friends getting caught up having a cup of coffee together. It's really comes off fairly casual
And
in
that's
conversation.
right off the bat, that's great because I think so
so,
many
too.
people with the online dating stuff, they're used to filling out
Right.
things
Right.
online or
Right.
just not really dealing one-on-one
I
with
had one
somebody.
just a couple of
So
days
having
ago
it
who
personal.
filled out his testing, and I reviewed it, and I knew that this was not the person I just interviewed, and he misunderstood questions. If you're just doing a computerized,
Well, that makes sense, though.
it could be wrong.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
What was it that attracted you to your husband?
You just smile, and he was just a good person. I remember asking around. He was a hard worker. You know, he was honest, a good person.
We didn't get back to
Yeah.
the question that you originally asked.
Right,
I
true.
interrupted about what would you ask. So what are some of the things that you
we
do
we
ask?
look into why your relationships have failed
Okay.
if you're divorced or having trouble meeting the right person. We look for patterns of behavior in you because it's generally the common denominator.
Right.
You know,
Two sides.
particularly
Yeah, you get
highly
yucky.
successful men and women who are highly successful in their careers are not successful in
Right.
relationships.
Right.
You meet these gentlemen who've gone, 3, 4 marriages, and everything they touch in their world turns to gold, but not with
Right.
relationships.
It's balanced, don't you think?
Yeah.
I mean, it's
I
kind
You
of
would think so,
balancing.
but it's more than that. It's a lot more than that. They fix everything. They can't fix something that was never meant to be together.
Well, you know what we can fix?
What can we fix?
Well, we can fix. I'm
Transition.
telling you right now. What we can fix is a lawn that doesn't look as good as it should.
and make it butterfly friendly.
And make it
Oh, yeah.
butterfly friendly at the Greenery. So stay with us. We're going to be back on Girl Talk at the Greenery.
Girl Talk is brought to you by J. Banks Design, The Greenery, Stoneworks, Custom Audio Video, and by Island Tire and Automotive Services. Please support these businesses who make our program possible.